Hey guys, it's Kip here from KDC Marketing, and in today's video I'm going to show you the brand new tool that just got released in Wix Studio, the Figma to Studio plugin, where you can take a design like this in Figma and you can import it into your Wix Studio website. And this is something that I have been anticipating for a while because there are a lot of other plugins out there like this for other website builders, but Wix Studio just released theirs, and this is going to be a game changer. If you design your designs in Figma first, it's going to save you so much time. So I'm going to go into my Wix Studio website and set this up. So I'm going to create a new site here, just a blank canvas, and while that's loading, I'm going to come here into my Figma file. And this is my mock-up for my SEO page. So I've got a whole entire page here, and if I scroll down, everything is all listed out. And I'm going to import this into Wix Studio directly from Figma. So in order to do this, you do have to have the Wix Studio, the Studio to Figma plugin installed. So you can see here it's Figma to Wix Studio, so you already have to have this installed. And then it walks me through how I'm going to export my Figma design to Wix Studio. So I'm going to click Setup Export, and the first thing I have to do is I have to connect this file to the I have to connect the Figma URL to the Wix Studio website. So I'm going to grab this URL up here at the top. I'm going to copy this, and then once my Wix Studio website is done loading, then I'll be able to go in here like it showed in the instructions over to Tools, and then I'm going to click Import from Figma. So once I click this, I'm going to put my URL in here, and then I'm going to click Connect, and now it's going to, okay, so it has my file here, my agency marketing pack. So I've done that, so I'm done connecting my file. I'm going to hit Next. It's going to walk me through the next thing. So I want to match the editing size. So what that means is this is a 14 by 40 width canvas, this wireframe canvas. So I want to match that here in Wix Studio. So I'm going to edit my breakpoint to 1440. So it matches the same canvas size. So I'm going to do Start Export. And I'm going to export this entire frame. So you can see here that you can export styles, and then, or you can use wireframes. It gives you a couple options. I'm just going to export the frame here. And here's my frame at 1440. And so I'm going to click Export. Go to Wix Studio to import the frame. Okay. So let's see here. Let's refresh the import. And it says that it's importing from Figma. Okay, so here's my import that it just pulled through, and it says that it was 1440, so we know that there's two fonts that are missing, so that means that Wix Studio doesn't have those fonts. I'm not going to worry about that for now, and I have some options down here. I can import this as a page, section, or container. This is an entire page, so I'm just going to click Add to Site. And it's going to take everything that I have in my mock-up and pull it over. So it might take a couple minutes. I'm going to keep this tab open and let it load. And I have tested this with a few other mock-ups before this video, and it was pretty close to what I actually had in Figma. There were a few things that I did need to change after it got imported, but I was really impressed with how well it imported things. So I hope that this one imports really well. So we'll just kind of wait for this to import here. That is one really cool thing to point out, is you could just import a section or a container. So if you wanted to, you designed a new section on an existing website, you could just import that one section, which is also kind of cool. So it looks like it imported some of it. It's just being a little bit slow right now, and of course it would be during this video. But as soon as it loads, I want to show you how it imports it, and there are some things that you probably will have to change and review. Okay, so it just got done importing, and here is my import from Figma. So it has my icons, it has my images it pulled over, our services. Now this isn't exactly perfect. Like you noticed, it was missing some fonts here in Wix that I would have to upload, the Poppins font, so I'd have to upload that. Some of these aren't exactly formatted correctly, but a lot of it is really, really close. So this is awesome because in the past you would have had to go in and download all of these different assets. So you'd have to download this image asset and download each of these icons and copy over all this text and these buttons and the colors and every single element from Figma over to Wix Studio. And now I can just import it with one step. Now I can go in and change this, of course, once I get it updated. So maybe if I don't have the Poppins font, maybe I want to use the Montserrat font or something and just update that and then update this to Montserrat. Maybe that's a close font to the one that I had. And so I've updated my site styles now. And let me make sure those took. Yep, those took. But then I just go in and make a few changes here. So what happened here is this header section was already there. It's the default by Wix Studio. So I'd have to go out and change this global header and make this new section the global header. And then same with the footer. The default footer is in here from Wix Studio. So I'd have to go in and change this footer to my new footer that I have here. I might have to format this stack a little bit in my design panel, like aligning items and giving some space to my elements. But you can see here that the basic import structure of this Figma file is here now. So now I can just go and edit this. This is one area that I did notice doesn't really import that well. So this is supposed to be a form in Figma, like a simple contact form getting started. So this is just going to import as a container, a stack inside of a container. And so this one I'd have to completely change out and make it a Wix form so that I could put in name and phone and email. So I'd have to, you kind of always have to change out those. But everything else in here, mostly what is kind of missing is just the styling. So maybe this is a little too bold, and so I need to change this to a paragraph 1. And now it's going to look more like a paragraph. Same with this one here, same issue. So I'm just going to go in and change this to paragraph 1. And then this one too. Go in and change to paragraph 1. So there's going to be some things that you need to do to make sure these designs are how you want them. And these look a little bit too dark here. If you notice back on my mock-up here in Figma, these were more of just regular text, and then the header was a little bit more bold right there. So I'd have to go in and update these as well, and I imagine these are set to headings, so I just have to switch these to paragraph. And this to paragraph as well. So there's some things that I have to go in, but I hope you can see how this would save you a ton of time. Instead of having to copy this all over from Figma one-to-one, you can just export it from Figma directly to Wix Studio. The other thing to keep in mind as I'm updating these text styles here is you'd also want to check the mobile responsiveness of this import. That's the other thing that I think is a little bit tricky for it to get just right. And so the way you would check that is just by going to these different devices and seeing how these sections look here. And then you go to mobile and same thing. So you can see that some of these sections just aren't very well optimized for mobile. And so we could do the AI option, responsive AI, and let it start to generate responsive layout for this section. So there is some editing after the fact that you're going to have to do in order to get it just right. But what I love about it is that everything imports over pretty closely, and I was actually really impressed with how close it matches the mockup in Figma. So, and because of Wix Studio's tools with responsive AI, again, saving yourself some time here. You don't even have to go in and do this. Most of the time it gets it right on the first try. And so we'll see how this one does here once it's done. So we're going to look at our responsive layout. Seeing that our services section looks great here on mobile. And then we could check tablet as well. Tablet needs some work, but mobile was good. So I normally, in this situation, I would go ahead and apply this, and then I just have to go in and re-edit tablet and get the stack to work for me here, like aligning the items. So it might just be some simple changes. This section's just a little bit too big. So changing a few things around like this, and you could get your mobile, or your tablet layout looking fairly good pretty quickly. And then aligning this stack as well, and getting this section to, and maybe these buttons you'd want to shrink down. So there's some extra formatting you're going to have to do to get these right, which you'd have to do anyways for any website. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's the Figma to Studio plugin. Like I said, this is something that I think a lot of people have been waiting for a long time to come out, because most web designers design in Figma and then they build in Wix Studio if that's the platform that you want to build on. And so you just have to go and find the Wix or the Figma to Studio plugin. It's a free Figma plugin. And then those steps that I did at the beginning, where you have to put the URL into your Wix Studio website and then get the same width for the device, or for the canvas, you want to make it the same width. So ours was 1440, so I changed the device to that. And then you can import the frame. And as we saw before, there was the page and section and container options, so you could also import just one little section into Wix Studio from Figma. So again, if you have an existing website and you just want to import that in, then you could do that. So yeah, there is still some things we'd have to correct here, but super cool. And I think this is a huge time saver for most people to just import it in here and design it, kind of fix it this way, than building it the first time and copying over all the content. So, all right, well, I hope that helps. Again, I'm excited to test this out more. It just barely came out, so hopefully you can test it out for you as well, and find the ways that it works for you. But just wanted to give a quick tutorial on how to set up that import, and then once you do set it up, you get this icon over here on the left hand side. It should stay here all the time, so that you can continue to import more sections, pages, and containers if you want to. So I hope that helps, and I will see you in the next video.